Just like that, we're back. Usually Section 400, Matt, Jack, and Brian bringing you along for the Sports Entertainment Podcast here up in 400. I know we're a day late. We're not $1 short. We're going to make it worth it for you guys. Obviously, sometimes life gets in the way. Had to push it back a day. But we'll get right into it with the NFL recap. If you want these to come out more on time and be more, time stamped with it, maybe support the SeatGeek. Go buy some tickets. Get some extra cash flow into our brand so that we can do this full time and be more on time with these things. But nonetheless, action-packed, full NFL Sunday that we're going to go over here in just a second. But we'll let SeatGeek have a quick word before we do that.
The weather may be getting cold late in the year, but the sports action is heating up. With the final stretch of the football season upon us and basketball season now here, the only place to go for the best tickets for each game is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast, and whether you're looking to sit courtside of the Sixers game, find a last-minute deal up in Section 400 for the Iron Bowl, or looking to just cheer on your alma mater in a preseason basketball tournament, SeatGeek's one-of-a-kind system helps you find the best deal for the best seats in the house. Use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, your best night ever is waiting. And now, the NFL recap.
All right, the NFL recap is here. We had a huge Sunday of football. I got the shirt on. You guys watched the game. Maybe the hottest team in the NFL right now. But before we get into them, we'll jump over to the Packers and the Jaguars. I won't really introduce it much because you can see Jaguars superfan Jack might have some stuff to say about another tough loss for the guys down there in Duval County.
Yeah, this was another disappointing loss, another game that we could have won, and it couldn't have ended in a worse fashion. The kicker that brought us trouble all last year signs with this Packers team last week, hits a game-winning field goal, shows up this week in Duval. His team from last year hits a game winner on us. I mean, I got nothing to say but screw you, Brandon McManus. Trevor looked good. His receivers, every single one of them got hurt. Gabe Davis got hurt. Christian Kirk is, I think, out for the season. I think he broke his collarbone is what I saw.
He was already kind of out for the season. He wasn't doing much anyway.
He wasn't doing much, but the big one is obviously Brian Thomas Jr. He got hurt in this one too. So I don't really know who we're trotting out there next week. It's going to be a big dosage of Evan Ingram and Brenton Strange. I know Brian hates Brenton Strange, but he will be on the field. We will be running a lot of two tight end sets, a lot more running with D'Ernest Johnson, Tank Bigsby, and gosh, we need Travis Etienne back really bad now. So hopefully we can get the run game figured out, and I just hate that this comes right as Trevor's hitting his stride, throwing the ball really well over the past 4 weeks. This one came down to the defense. I mean, even after Jordan Love gets hurt, Malik Willis just puts on a show, and I mean, I got to start putting some respect on Malik Willis's name. He hasn't come into a game and not won it yet this year, I don't think. But
he's 3-0.
He's 3-0. I mean, it's insane. I got to put some respect on his name, but the Jags defense makes everybody look like Tom Brady. So,
well, if Brenton Strange plays in two tight end sets, that's fine. My big issue is when he's the lone tight end on the field. And fine, he's playing well, but you have Evan Ingram who can make superhuman catches like the touchdown he did. I have a lot of issues with Doug Peterson, maybe as many as you do now.
Yeah, I mean, look, Brenton Strange did a serviceable job when Evan Ingram was out for the first, 6 weeks of the season. And in the 2 games that he's come back, he's been playing really well, Evan Ingram. But, again, you got to ramp up. You got to get that conditioning back. You can't expect him to play 100%.
He had 10 catches in his first game back.
Yeah, that's how we work him back in there. But, I'm going to have to pull up the snap percentages. Even though he had 10 catches, probably got targeted on just about every single one of his routes. I don't think he played, more than 80% of the snaps is my point.
Yeah, well, on Sunday, it seemed like he played like 30%. On National Tight End Day, too. Just such a crime, and Doug Peterson needs to be gone.
He had a fine day.
Because of the touchdown.
Look, you really shouldn't be giving Doug Peterson a hard time because of the offense. We should be looking at the defense right now, and the fact that Josh Jacobs carried the ball for 25 times for 125 yards and a touchdown on us. I mean, excuse me, 2 touchdowns. He was the one who really did the dirty work, and I'm just very unimpressed with the defense right now.
Yeah, I was surprised to even see the Jaguars keep this one close. I thought, I know the line was a little weird. It might have been 3.5. I thought this was a game where, the Packers were going to go down there, handle business, win by at least a touchdown. So I guess for you, Jack, to take away, it was nice to see the Jags stay competitive with, a great team. And they've been relatively competitive all year. But, it's like flip-flopping. Trevor Lawrence starting to find his stride, and the rest of the team is going to shit. And, I know you had a lot to say about this defense in the beginning of the year, and they're just not clicking like
Best
I guess
D-line in football.
No, yeah. I really thought Eric Armstead was going to have a little bit more gas left in the tank. He seems like he's just collecting a paycheck. I think I've seen him make one play in the 8 weeks of football now. Josh Hines-Allen, don't know what's going on with him. He changed his name, and he's just not good anymore. I think, honestly, if we're being completely honest, it looks like he put on a little bit of weight, and he's not as quick anymore.
But ketchup.
Well, he got the contract.
Whatever.
Right?
But
I mean, we see this all over the place in the NFL. They get the contract, and they have a down year where they take a step back, foot off the gas. He probably was enjoying that money over the summer.
And the reason why it's so disappointing is because Trayvon Walker is really coming into his own. I don't want to throw out any random stats at you, but I'm pretty sure he was 4th in the league in pressures going into this week. And he had another great game. He attracts 2 guys every time. He gets the Aaron Donald treatment. I'm not going to say he's AD, but he gets the treatment where they're sending 2 guys his way every single time. They'll have a running back chip, a tight end chip. He's really wreaking havoc and causing a lot of attention. So with all that going on, there's no reason why Josh Hines-Allen can't get in the backfield and start making some plays. I'm, again, just really, really disappointed in this defense.
Yeah, we thought it would set up for a nice Sunday night football this week, but that game got flexed out to 4:00. But before we jump in to the team I'm alluding to, we have a little bit of a quarterback controversy, do we not? I mean, Malik Willis is 3-0, and Jordan Love is also a great player. The guy airs it out all over the field with, I wouldn't say he has these star talent wide receivers. I mean, he has good receivers, Jaden Reed, Dontavia Wick's still there, Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft is blossoming into a really, really nice tight end. But, can you call it a controversy? I don't know. But Jordan Love seems to be pretty injury prone, halfway through the season already. 2 major injuries, I don't know. But he's coming up on the injury report, and they keep throwing Malik Willis in there. And it's pretty much like the Packers don't skip a beat, at least in the win column.
Yeah, I think Matt LaFleur likes calling plays more when Malik Willis is there. He just likes running the ball and scheming up fun formations. And Jordan Love, you kind of have to throw it because he's better at throwing it. I don't think there's a controversy, but I do like the looks of Malik Willis under center. It's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch. He's been playing well, but it's a huge game this upcoming week, and obviously we'll dive into it in the midweek show. But they take on probably the best team in the NFC and the Detroit Lions this upcoming weekend. Look, Willis is 3-0. He gets the job done, but I think if Jordan Love's good to go, ready to go, says he wants to play, he's got to be the guy under center on Sunday.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You got to give him the reign there. But having said that, Malik Willis did come into this game and look a whole hell of a lot better than Jordan Love did. I mean, the stats will prove it too. I mean, I'm looking at the QBRs and the passer rating side by side. 68 compared to 39, 152 compared to 73. I mean, it's really not close. And I understand the sample size is a little bit different. Jordan Love threw 4 times as many passes as Malik Willis, but still, this is the same game against the same defense.
Yeah, the 73 was also on one long Jaden Reed run at the end of the game there. So it wasn't like he was lighting up the world.
I didn't
No, he
even talk about
wasn't.
yards. I was talking about the QBR and the passer rating.
Okay, I thought you were talking about yardage there at the end.
Now,
But either
believe
No.
way,
this.
most of
Well,
his yards came on that long.
So Jordan Love's still the quarterback this Sunday for both of you guys.
yes.
If he's all right, I think his MRI came back clean. So
Yeah, I think it's leaning towards he's, escaped another scare of an injury. And he should be good to go on Sunday. But we'll see as the reports unroll the rest of the week here. But we have to dive in. I touched on the Lions being the number one team in the NFC, but we have to dive into now the number two team in the NFC. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. They go out, they got a job done, 37-17 over the Bengals. This was a game that I had as a loss when we did our schedule prediction back in May. And Jalen Hurts, he must have watched the pod because I said you got to clean up the decision making. The pocket awareness has to get better, and you have to fix the turnover issue. And the guy hasn't been turning the ball over. The decision making has been better, and the pocket awareness has come with that as well. So again, three rushing touchdowns. What was this? The third time that he's done it. So the most in NFL history. I mean, that's an unbelievable accomplishment in itself. If Jalen Hurts can figure out the passing, which he seems to be doing with these star-studded wide receivers, you then have Saquon Barkley there too. If you're a defensive coordinator, how the hell do you scheme against this? I don't know how you can, but Saquon Barkley, a good offensive line, almost great offensive line, and the receivers on the outside. Let me give a shout out to Grant Calcaterra because Dallas Goddard's been injured, and that guy's come into life and playing really, really good football. So the Eagles have weapons all over the field, and if you're a defensive coordinator and having a scheme against this offense, you want to rip your hair out because there's really it's you want to hope to contain them and just not let the top off because you can't stop it.
Yeah, you guys were up a touchdown or two at one point, and then I look up at the TV and I see this absolute just this white streak running across the field. I'm like, who is that? Grant Calcaterra, the backup tight end, just open on like a what was it like a 20-yard reception. It was you guys could get it any way you wanted in this one. The Eagles really did play like a pretty perfect game. They started a little bit slow. But they did play like a pretty perfect game after that. I mean, Jalen Hurts, if you're gonna let him get three rushing touchdowns in a single game, you're not winning. So Joe Burrow can do all he wants, but he's 0-4 at home now, and it's terrible out there for the Bengals fans.
yeah, I'm a little bit worried about my Bengals Super Bowl
A little
future here.
bit,
A
a
little.
little bit
I'll
worried.
explain. I'll explain why it's just a little. But before I do
That
that,
shit's dead in the water, dude.
it's not dead yet.
Bro,
It's
yes,
not
it
dead yet.
is.
But I just want
It's
to also say, Matt, the Falcons still do exist. So the Eagles might be the third best team in the NFC.
I mean, dude, if Saquon catches that ball, they win the game. I still would not. I, again, sure, they beat them in week two. We are what in week eight now. The Eagles are playing better football, I'd say, than the Falcons are at this point in time, regardless of whatever you want to say happened in week two.
All right, yeah, just like the Mets played better baseball for 4 months than the Phillies, but the Phillies were still the best team in the
Sure, dude. Sure.
But I'm not worried about the Bengals because they get the Raiders next. They're going to win that game. Then they get the Ravens. That's probably a loss. Then I think they can beat the Chargers. I think they can beat the Steelers. I think they can beat the Cowboys, and I think they can beat the Titans. So as long as they do that, and as long as they take care of business there, they're still alive. If they lose to the Raiders next week, I will officially say it's dead.
I was going to say, save that audio because I could totally see the Raiders somehow pulling that off.
Yeah, I could too. But until they lose that game, which hopefully they don't, I will still have faith in Joe Burrow.
Not saying it's going to happen, but you did definitely just jinx it. But I mean, the team to talk about in this game is the Philadelphia Eagles. They are playing lights out football, a complete 180, 3-0, 3-0 in the Baldiani era. I don't know if anybody's seen those memes going around, but Sirianni shaved his head, and they have not lost a game. They seem to be rallying around. Everybody was calling for Sirianni to get fired. Jalen Hurts doesn't like him. The whole team doesn't like him. The chemistry's off, this and that. There seems to be a total rebound with the way this team has responded. And all it took was the guy just had to get a haircut because they're 3-0. They're going. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see in Philadelphia right now. And, as we see with all the teams, total
Yeah,
disaster comes at the end of the season. But for right now, I'm going to enjoy it.
it's a good way to put it, Matt. But yeah, I mean, look, all it took was him cutting his hair and the boys getting healthy again. I mean, things look a lot different with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith back on the scene. And I don't know, Brian, I don't remember what AJ Brown prop you gave out during our live show Sunday morning, but I gave out Devonta Smith over 4.5 receptions. That cashed. He had 6 receptions on 7 targets, led the team. So thank you to Devonta Smith for making me look good. And Brian, how about AJ Brown? Did he do you justice?
Yeah, we were and if you're not watching those live shows on Sunday morning, first of all, shame on you. And second of all, we're giving out great props. I gave out AJ Brown and Jamar Chase both over on the yardage and score touchdowns. So 3 for 4 there. Brown had like 85 yards and a touchdown. Chase had a touchdown and only like 50 yards because the Bengals just forgot how to play football in the second half. But this was a fun game. I thought it would be high scoring, and the Bengals didn't do their part, but it was fun for a half.
Because it's Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense. I mean, they're coming to life with. I said in the beginning of the year they didn't show it, but they're starting to turn the tide on that secondary. Cooper DeJean is emerging as a very nice young defensive back hybrid, whatever you want to call him. I mean, he can kind of play all over the field. And Quinyon Mitchell, again, they showed his stats. I think, led up 2 catches for 12 yards or something like that. I forget the exact numbers, but he had a great game as well. Darius Slay, I thought, played okay. He's just getting old, so he's just going to be is what he is kind of thing. He brings the energy, so whatever, that's fine. But yeah, they're really young across the defense. They still got to clean up the D line, I think, a little bit. But Philadelphia Eagles are playing great football right now, and look, they come in Sunday 4 o'clock against the Jaguars, who obviously Jack just talked about injury ridden, the whole thing. I don't see Trevor Lawrence coming into South Philly and beating the Eagles on their home turf. But again, any given Sunday something can happen. But I really, maybe there's some Doug Peterson magic there coming back to Philly. But the Eagles are just, player for player, I think light years better than what the product the Jaguars are going to put on the field Sunday.
Yeah. Outside of the quarterback, I'm back in on Trevor Lawrence being better than Jalen.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know about all that.
And before we start another 15 minutes of that, and move on to the next game, Matt, I like you mentioned DeJean and Mitchell there. We talk about this draft and its offensive talent, but you have them. Terry Arnold has been great for the Lions, and then the Giants. Drew Phillips and Tyler Nubin have both been very good leading that defensive renaissance. We might talk about this as one of the best draft classes in NFL history in like 5 years.
Yeah, we definitely could. Drake May, I know he went in the concussion protocol. He was looking good until he got hurt. Jaden Daniels is obviously there. Caleb Williams honestly didn't have a great game yesterday, but
he had a good fourth quarter.
He had a fine fourth quarter, and I think their coaching staff isn't doing him much much help either.
Yeah, even the receivers, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, like there's a lot of good players that are making
a lot of great talent that's performing immediately, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it might take a year for a guy to blossom and do well, but yeah, the draft, that's a great point, Brian. The draft class this year is making plays. I mean, look at that play by Cooper DeJean in what was it, 4th and 1 on Jamar Chase, open field tackle. I mean, I've been watching Eagles football for the last 20 years. They never make that play. It's like 100%. They're 4th and 1. The other team's getting it. Like, no doubt about it. And to make that play was like almost like new life in this Eagles team and Eagles defense. The only one thing I would say about the defense is they got to clean up the 3rd and longs. I mean, it's infuriating when they're going down the field. It's like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, and teams are just consistently converting on those 3rd and long. So that would probably be my biggest thing on the defense is get off the field on 3rd down. But other than that, the offense is humming. Kellen Moore, Hey, how you doing, man? Welcome to Philadelphia because I had my doubts early on, and he's starting to figure it out. Vic Fangio, we know how he is with the defensive mind, and the Eagles look lights out, and I stand by them being the number two team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, they look good. They look good.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm at number two, but
No, who's number two then? And don't say the Falcons because that's just not right.
uh,
If they played again, the Eagles are not losing to the Falcons, and I hope they play in the playoffs.
Well, your choices are probably the Falcons, the Niners, and the Commanders,
yeah,
or the Vikings. The Vikings are there, but they just lost to the Rams.
Yeah, the Vikings are
maybe
going to
they
start falling
are.
off a
Maybe they
cliff.
are. Maybe they are. I give it to Atlanta with the way that Kirko Chains is playing right now, but I don't know. The only reason why I'm a little bit hesitant on the Eagles right now is just because you guys have had a pretty cupcake schedule since everybody's come back healthy. Who'd you guys have? You guys just beat the Bengals. You had the Giants, the Browns before that. That started. That was a three.
Browns just beat the Ravens.
Okay, well, that was a very different Browns team. Jameis Winston versus Deshaun Watson, like totally different team. Brian, what is
Fair
going?
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, you see
I'm
Brian's.
getting a call.
Yeah, I mean it's all good. The Eagles are flying, and they get to come home to take on the Jags. And yeah, I'm excited for that one. We got to win that game. Then we get the Cowboys and the Commanders. So some tough divisional battles over the next couple weeks here. But yeah, we can move on. I just kind of touched on it about the Eagles beating the Browns, who just beat the Ravens 29-24 behind Jameis Winston, 334 yards. And what was that? Three touchdowns. I mean, they know here up in 400, we're huge Jameis Winston fans. We were calling for him, down for the Saints last year.
Hmm.
And they finally throw him out there and they beat a team that, the Baltimore Ravens people are touting as a top two team in the AFC. I mean, you have the Chiefs and then number two. A lot of people are looking at the Ravens right there. And the Browns got a job done behind, Jameis Winston. He's more than just, quarterback leader of the team, but he's a true leader. A true just gets the troops to rally behind him. And you saw it on full display Sunday when he went out there and got the job done.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd need. Apparently, you do need stats to back this up because Kevin Stefanski still believes Deshaun Watson's the right quarterback to lead his team. But since 2022 in the regular season, the Browns are 9-10 with 17 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions with Deshaun Watson starting. With now Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston, they are 6-1 with 16 touchdown passes and 8 interceptions. So in 19 games, Deshaun Watson has thrown for one more touchdown pass than Flacco and Winston have done in 7, and he's thrown 4 more picks, and he's only won 3 more games.
And
Yeah,
Stefanski said after the game that he wants to stick with Watson.
Well, that's when they kept asking him if he was going to bench Watson. His answer was Watson's the best player to lead this team. And it's clearly now through two guys that, I mean, we love Jameis Winston and we love Joe Flacco, but they're not exactly elite NFL quarterbacks. They're good NFL quarterbacks, but they're not elite. And when they're back there, his team becomes an elite team. And with Deshaun Watson, they're a mediocre at best team.
Yeah, is that maybe,
yeah.
Opinion or being voiced from ownership to Stefanski? Like, hey, man, we're paying this guy 265 million. He's going to be the guy going forward.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, look, Browns fans, you heard them after the Watson injury. They're happy that he's not their quarterback right now, regardless of the money. And they got to be happy with this. I mean, man, Jameis comes in and beats the divisional foes, the Ravens, who, not only is touting, one of the best teams in the league, but in the AFC and in their division. So they wanted this one bad. And Brian, I remember on the live show, I started with this game and I literally said, this is going to be a weird one, as Ravens Browns, as AFC North games always are. And I still said, whatever. Give me the Ravens minus, whatever it was, 8.5, 10.5. I don't remember what it finished at. But that was just such a stupid decision. One of my only losses of the week, I will say. But dude, Jameis, just give him credit. It doesn't matter who pops in for this Browns team. Jameis, Joe Flacco gives them life, and they're a real threat when they have a legitimate quarterback back there.
Jameis Winston and Cedric Tillman lighting up the world in the year 2024. It's crazy.
Yeah, and our guy Joe Flacco would be doing it too if they let him start at quarterback for the Colts. But I get it, they got a young quarterback, so they can.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that disaster. But Anthony Richardson, it's getting about that time
Or
where
Joe Flacco. Just start Joe Flacco. The guy throws 300 yards, 3 touchdowns like it's nothing.
mhm.
Doesn't make any sense. But we'll jump into the Lions, who put up a 50 burger on the Titans. That was ugly if you're a Tennessee fan because I think the Lions had what 35 in the first half. Um, yeah, did you guys watch this one at all? I mean, I just kept seeing highlights on Red Zone with it was just like score after score after score. Yeah, crazy game, and that's why I have the Lions. They're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat, and that's a good old ass kicking right there.
Yeah, Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns on 15 pass attempts. It's
Almost like they weren't even trying.
I was I think I tweeted out. I can't remember what point in this game at what point in the game it was, but Jared Goff had 10 completions and the Lions had 50 fucking points. It
yep.
was insane, dude. How do you complete 10 only 10 passes and you have 50 points? I mean, look, top down, defense, special teams, this Lions team is special. Very impressive and shout out Calvin Ridley for the Titans. He finally did something in a game that, it didn't really matter clearly, but at least he finally got going.
Of course, it was against me in fantasy, but this team's so good. Sonic and Knuckles, of course, Montgomery and Gibbs, as they like to be called. 36 touchdowns now in their 19 games played together. They almost each score in every game they play.
Insane.
It's absolutely insane.
I talk about Saquon Barkley and his ability to rush the ball. Yeah, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are right there with it, and it's unbelievable to see how you can pick both of those guys in fantasy, and they both produce at a very high level.
Yeah, it's very Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara adjacent when they were with the Saints. I think they both finished in the top 10 in fantasy that year.
It's like you try and play the game like, who do I pick? Do I go Montgomery because he's going to vulture touchdowns, or do I go Gibbs? Like, are they finally just going to let him go? And I don't think you can go wrong with either or because, like I just said, they both are producing at a very high level.
Yeah, it's like D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah. And I do have since it is the sports equinox today as we're recording this, unfortunately not as you guys are watching this, but I do have a little dual sport stat for you guys here that may make some Yankee fans happy. So the last time the Lions started 6-1 was 1956. In 1956, the Yankees beat the then Brooklyn Dodgers in 7 games in the World Series after the Dodgers won games 1 and 2 in Brooklyn.
That's wild.
So Yankee fans, the Yankees swept in the Bronx that series. So get your bets in now. The Yankees might sweep in the Bronx in 2024.
Too bad it's only 3 games.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll get into a little World Series talk at the end, but I get it. You're trying to pump some hope into the New York fan base, Brian, but I don't know. That Dodgers team's going to be tough to overcome, but we'll see. It's a different dynamic when the cold weather is going on, and you're not in the LA sunshine anymore.
Yeah. The trendy baseball stats may be dead too after the Mets weren't able to get to the World Series after beating the Brewers. So that stat's dead, and now, so maybe they aren't. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's still cool.
I was going to say, Brian, if you want to talk about a team in New York that's down bad right now, 0-2 in the World Series, why don't we talk another one that's 2-5 and just lost to the New England Patriots?
Yeah, is it time to bring in Randall Cobb?
I mean, dude, what Band-Aid are they going to try and throw on next? It's what was this week? Hassan Reddick? What did he do?
Collected a check.
Yeah, collected a check. Honestly, no. This was the nail in the coffin for me. I'm finally jumping over the fence onto your guys' side. The Jets are going to jet. This was the last straw. I don't care if they win out. They won't be able to do it in the playoffs. I just don't have the faith in them to do it this year. Maybe next year. If Rodgers wants to show up to training camp and He gets a full offseason working with Adams and Wilson as a two, and they bring in a real coach and a real OC, not Nathaniel Hackett. Maybe I could be in on them for next year, but my gosh, dude, I'm so out on them after losing to the Patriots. It's embarrassing. They handled this game. They handled the game and they still threw it away.
I'm glad you brought it up because and gave us our props. I know I was out on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets since week one. Brian, I don't know I don't remember your opinion on it or how you felt about them, but yeah,
I
you want to touch on that for a second? I forget which way you were swinging. I thought you were kind of half in on the Jets.
Yeah, I was half in. I think I had them. Their total was 8.5. I had them going 9-8. I didn't buy all the hype, but I thought they'd at least be fighting for a playoff spot. This is just, it's bad. There's what else can you do? And shout out a friend of the podcast, Ben, for this stat. The Jets, they scored 20 points, they committed 0 turnovers, and they held their opponent to under 250 yards of offense. Teams were 756-0 since they did that. The Jets are now the one loss. What else can you do?
Stat.
They're in shambles. And I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to say today on the Pat McAfee show to try to build some life into that franchise. But
I'm surprised he even goes on that show anymore after the disaster that it is. And it's got to be the ownership too. Like Robert Saleh was not the guy that needed to be the fall guy. I mean, anyone with half a brain could tell you that Nathaniel Hackett should not be there calling the plays. And this guy they brought in, Albright or whatever his name is, does not look prepared or competent enough to be an NFL head coach. And you saw what Salah? Who was it? The Packers just went and scooped him up.
yeah, he's their defensive. I think he's their offensive. He's their defensive scout team coach to make their offense better.
Yeah, and even the I guess it was LaFleur was floored that Salah was available to bring onto his staff. I don't agree with the move. I don't think Salah should have been the fall guy. I think he should have cut ties with Nathaniel Hackett and tried to get a different person running the offense. I don't care if it pisses off Aaron Rodgers because that's Aaron Rodgers' guy. At some point, you don't get to make those calls anymore. Cool, you won MVPs 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. Football team's 2-6. You need a different way to score points. And Salah wasn't the reason why that wasn't happening. It's Nathaniel Hackett who is still there. So again, broken organization. I don't even know. It's too much to unpack.
I think Salah might be happy that he's no longer a head coach. And this could just be me totally throwing this out of proportion, but he seemed a lot happier, a lot more engaged when he was the 49ers DC. Well, that was only a few years ago, but he was, jumping up, like lifting with the guys, getting pumped up before all the games. He just has looked miserable in New York, honestly, since he's been there. This might be a good thing for him.
Yeah, you want to
Takes
know
a lot out of you, man.
You want to know how maybe you fix the Jags next year? You bring in Bill Belichick as head coach, hire Cliff Kingsbury as OC, and Rob Salah as DC.
I'm so with that. I'm just not with Cliff Kingsbury. I know he's doing wonders for Jaden Daniels right now in Washington, but
Well, it's kind of the same thing where he wasn't a great head coach, but maybe he just loves the offensive coordinator role.
And we also saw the 1 year he had as the head coach of the Cardinals, they were lights out. It was him and Kyler Murray. He was the head coach, and they were great. Then everybody figured him out. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sing the high praise on Cliff Kingsbury just yet, and I don't know that he should be the guy to go take over another franchise.
yeah, I'm not in on that. But Bill Belichick as the head coach and Robert Salah as our DC. Brian, oof, I'm going to sleep well tonight.
Yeah, all I'm saying is they both seem like very good football coaches, maybe not great leaders of men. Then you have Bill Belichick to be that locker room leader, and you have two great football coaches. I think it might be great for you.
I think so too, Brian. I'm going to be dreaming about that later.
Was it last year that I was like, it wasn't Bill Belichick, it was all Tom Brady, and I got everybody ripped on me for that?
Yeah, that
Was
was
that
that's kind of crazy to look back on and say that was a debate of who mattered more.
I'm still sticking to Tom Brady.
Oh, I think it's definitely Tom Brady.
I mean, it's definitely Tom, but like, I Dude, it's both, man. Tom Brady was amazing. Like, there's no doubt about that he was like the best winner at quarterback ever. But he also always had very competent pieces around him. Like, he always had a top 10 defense. He always had like one or two weapons that were just gross at something, and he just exposed that every single time. I mean, you don't get that in the team and the continuity like that unless you have a good head coach too. So you got to give Bill his flowers as well.
Yeah, I think he gets his flowers, but maybe it's more the last dynasty because it was kind of split into two. The first one was more Bill. The second one, I think, was 80% Brady.
Yeah, the one thing I
Sure.
don't want to see is Bill start drafting players for us Jags though, because he was not good at that. I don't need a fucking N'Keal Harry going in the first round for our team.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's like 80% of the reason so many Rutgers alumni are in the NFL.
Shout out,
He
Pops.
also drafted Aaron Hernandez.
He did do that too.
Well, he was pretty good.
Have you guys seen any of the show? That show looks like a
Yeah.
Lifetime movie.
Yeah,
It's
it's the acting is very poor. The acting
I've
is
seen
very, very
it. This
poor.
seems terrible.
Yeah, like the storyline and what they're trying to do is like it could be so great, but the acting just really makes it almost unwatchable. But we can save that for the people who want to go watch that. We did skip over the Cardinals and Dolphins. We don't have to dive too far into it, other than the Cardinals are alive at 4-4. I said they're going to be the sneaky team this year, and Kyler Murray has them somehow pulling out wins out of their ass week in and week out.
Yeah, we were split on who would be the better team in this division, the Cardinals or the Seahawks, and now we're deadlocked again. So it should be a fun little side ride for us for the end of the season here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this was I was say this was Kyler Murray's best game of the season. This was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s best game of his young career. They looked pretty good, dude. James Conner, I think I said it on the last pod. I'll say it again right here, right now. He's my favorite running back in the NFL. I mean, I love Tank. I love watching Saquon as well, but dude, this man, this man is awesome. James Conner's sick.
yeah, still Saquon for me, but definitely got to give props to James Conner. He gets it done, man. A veteran guy, and running backs don't last long in the NFL. You don't see them stick around. Injuries start popping up, but this guy's been doing it. I mean, he was on the Steelers for a few years,
He
Mhm.
and
played at
then
the same time as Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell's at all the Trump rallies now.
right.
Like two
So there
completely
you go.
different.
Two completely different things, but total props to James Conner, who's just I wouldn't say he's an old man, but he's getting up there in age, and he's still producing at a very, very high level. And hey, Cardinals are 4-4. Anything can happen from here, and they keep playing the way they're playing. Maybe a wild card is on the cards for the Cards.
I like that
Like that one, Bry.
one.
But anyway, we'll jump into the Falcons and the Bucs, who Brian and Jack have as the number two team in the NFC, and in prime pole position to kind of lead the rest of the way of the division with not only beating the Bucs, but the Buccaneers having major injury issues themselves. Yeah, we'll probably see the Falcons win this division after, knocking off the Bucs here 31-26.
Yeah, the Saints and the Panthers look so sad, and the Bucs just swept the regular season series or the Falcons just swept the regular season series from the Bucs. So I think this division is all but wrapped up. I'll give it a 0% chance that another team wins the division. I know mine aren't as patented as you, but I'm willing to give it a 0% chance. But yeah, the story of this one, at least for us, was Jack again. The Kate Otten parlay that we gave out was $10 to win 210, and it smashed.
Shout out Kate Otten. I mean, look, National Tight Ends Day in conjunction with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin going down the week before. This man was already getting targeted 7, 8, 9, 10 times a game. I had a feeling, Brian, the stars were aligning.
Yeah, and if people that were also listening threw out my favorite bet, the Sterling Shepard 4 receptions, that would have hit too. So I don't know what the odds were for those three, But yeah, I mean, we killed this game.
And look, we saw these two teams play on a Thursday night not too long ago. We had Kirk O'Chain throw for 500 yards. You knew this was going to be a great game. And it was. I mean, we got 57 points. Baker Mayfield threw for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kirk threw for 4 touchdowns. I mean, this was just awesome.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't watch much of this game at all, but I did see it. I almost give props to the Bucs for keeping it close. I thought they were going to get killed for all the injury issues that they have on the offensive side of the ball. They kept it close, but yeah, I guess it kind of sucks that they just lost two to the Falcons.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a credit to Baker. Baker is a very good NFL quarterback, and we already kind of kicked the Browns while they were down in this podcast, but I'll do it again. They should have never let Baker leave.
Yeah, Baker's another guy you got to give a shout out to. He's just having such a great season. And I mean, he started doing this at the end of last season. That's why the Bucs made the playoffs. That's why they beat the Eagles in the playoffs last year. But now that he's had like the full year, the whole offseason really just coming into his own. And this is his, man. This is his. And even with the receivers going down, he's going to get Otten involved. They got McMillan involved. Like you said, Sterling Shepard got involved, although I think he pulled his hammy or something like that mid-game. But I just want to shout out one more person in this game, and I'm not going to give him any flowers or anything because I don't like him. But Kyle Pitts finally has a real NFL stat line. What was it? 4 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's got to be his best game since his rookie year. But he still hasn't hit 100 yards. I don't know if he ever will again.
And you could also tell he's not used to finding the end zone because he celebrated early and he almost fumbled on the one.
That was a wild play.
You'd
He
think
got
after Deshaun Jackson did that, no one else would ever do it again.
I don't
It's the
think he got
hype, man. It's the what's the word I'm looking for, dude? Not the emotion, but like just getting caught up in the moment. We can sit here all day long and be like, yeah, what is he doing? Well, obviously you don't drop the ball, but they just get caught up in it, man.
I still think that they just gave it to him. I think he
I didn't see
was
the
close.
actual play. I mean, did he get in or did he not? I mean, the replay you should be able to see.
It was one of those where if they called it a fumble and the Falcons would have challenged, it probably would have stood. It was just
Really?
that close.
Yeah,
I think he got in. I think the ball barely crossed the line, but if it was called a fumble on the field, I don't know if they would have overturned it.
Yeah, it was a play stance, not a play confirmed.
See, that's a big difference. But yeah, I mean, Falcons all but wrap up the NFC South, bearing a major collapse, which we know what they did in the Super Bowl, so we won't count them out of major collapses there. But Texans take on the Colts, and somehow the Texans win on the road. They were on the road, right? Or was that in Houston? Actually, it might have been in Houston. Not sure.
I think it was Indy.
Was it Indy? Either way, Stephon Diggs goes out with an injury. Texans still get the job done. Obviously, weapons all over the field for them, including the quarterback. And Anthony Richardson tried to win a football game, but I'm not sold on him being the franchise guy for the Indianapolis Colts.
No, he stinks.
Yeah, he's not good. And at one point in this game, he and people have been talking about it online, but he went over and like tapped the side of his helmet and basically was like, "Yeah, I need a breather." It's like, dude, you're not a wide receiver. Like, you don't take a breather. That's like not you're the quarterback. You hike the ball. Like, your breather is going to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, which you should be more than happy to do. But to take yourself off the field was something that he's getting roasted for. But I mean, who cares anyway? The dude can't complete 5 passes in a game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how feeble he is at throwing the football. And I mean, we always had these worries, but you'd think eventually he'd figure out at least how to complete a 5-yard out route. And he's airmailing the guys for like 50 yards.
Yeah,
Not an NFL quarterback. I mean, it's a nice way to put it.
yeah. At a certain point, like, I mean, dude, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I can complete an out route in the NFL, but like I can complete an out route in like backyard football. and it doesn't seem like he can do that. Like I think he just needs a decent coach. Like somebody needs to teach him how to throw the football properly.
I think you know how like you when you have that growth spurt in sixth grade and then you're a little uncoordinated, like people tell you, your parents or someone your coach will tell you got to grow into your body.
Yeah.
I think he's too athletic for his own good. Like he still hasn't grown into his rocket arm, and I don't know. It's very weird.
I mean, that could be the case, dude. He's still a young guy. Maybe he's going to be another Sam Darnold. Give him 4 or 5 years. Start lighting the world up.
I was going to say, who is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts in 2025?
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'll still be Anthony
They're
Richardson.
still sticking it out with them.
100%. Yeah.
If Daniel Jones is still quarterbacking the New York Giants in 2024, Anthony Richardson will still be quarterbacking the Colts in 2025.
Okay, so I'll ask you this. Do the Colts make the same mistake the Giants made and sign him to a huge extension that just set the franchise back 10 years?
No.
I don't think that they're willing to do that. If they were, I mean, look, we're not in their front office. I don't know how they feel, but like you've seen nothing from him. But you've seen a guy who honestly cannot throw the football. You've seen him be able to chuck it deep. You've seen him being able to run. But you've also seen him in what, 6 games? He's hurt the rest of the games. I mean, why are you going to pay a dude who's going to get hurt after 2 games?
It doesn't make it. And this was a good team. They're still a good team. They almost won this game, but he's just consistently kicking him. He's a mess.
If Joe Flacco started this game, would they have won?
Oh yeah,
Really?
100%. The amount of drives they have, where it's 3 and out, 6 and out, Joe Flacco doesn't do that.
No, he's definitely good for a couple first downs.
Yeah, I think if you're going to give him a full week of practice with the ones and then bring him into and then start him in this game, yeah, I do think Joe Flacco gets done.
I wish we could see it. Will we see Anthony Richardson get benched this year for Joe Flacco? Right? I mean, these are got to be questions at the front office, the head coach. Like, they got to be talking about this, right?
Yeah, but I think this is like the same thing as like the Russell Wilson versus Fields conversation, where like Justin Fields can win you games, but like he doesn't have what it takes to go win you a Super Bowl. Like Russ with the throwing ability gives you that ability, and I think with the Colts, if they can develop Richardson into like that guy, I think they can go win a Super Bowl with him. Joe Flacco, I don't know if he has I don't know if he has a Super Bowl left in him. You know what I mean? As much as I love him and seeing these regular season performances, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, I don't know if he can go win a Super Bowl for you.
I agree.
Yeah, the division's gonna be wrapped up by maybe the end of November. It's not like they're gonna be in a spot where they can catch the Texans. Maybe they can make the playoffs, but the Broncos look good. We will get to. But yeah, I just think in a lost year, you stick with Richardson.
Yeah, and we'll see as that develops here. As Richardson's going to get a shot. Young quarterback, he's going to continue to get the shot. We'll see what happens there. But do we even talk about this game, Chargers Saints? I mean, what a disgusting game on Sunday.
The Saints stink, and the Chargers are going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean,
which we had ideas of.
The Saints stink, and the Chargers play good defense and don't make a whole lot of mistakes on offense. So yeah.
Is this the best quarterback that Jim Harbaugh's ever had?
Yes.
He's just trying to stir up some controversy with Colin Kaepernick here again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who else has he had outside of JJ McCarthy and Colin Kaepernick that's like noteworthy?
Alex Smith.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith.
Oh.
I think it's a valid question.
We're not comparing Alex Smith to Justin Herbert, bro. Respectfully, I love Alex Smith, but he's nothing compared to what
Alex Smith was a pretty good player.
He was a very good game manager, but Justin Herbert is an elite 5,000-yard passer.
Yeah, I think that would be the correct take, that Herbert's the best quarterback he's had.
Like I think Alex Smith is closer to JJ McCarthy than he is to Justin Herbert. And that
We
might be
don't know. We
really
don't know what McCarthy is.
that might be really disrespectful to Alex Smith. But
Yeah, I think that is extremely disrespectful. The guy's a 10+ year NFL vet who's
Yeah, that's
won
crazy.
playoff games, and JD McCarthy hasn't played a legitimate snap yet, and
yeah,
and got injured in the NFL training camp
as far
his
as
rookie year.
as far as the the ceiling and the style of play, like I'm gonna compare him to JJ McCarthy before I compare him to Justin Herbert. I stand by that. Even though it's disrespectful, I stand by that. I'm sorry, Alex Smith.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, I guess. I was thinking about bringing up Colin Kaepernick again, but I don't think we need to go to that rabbit hole. Although if he didn't take a knee, maybe this is a different conversation. But yeah, it's Justin Herbert.
Fair enough. Just was asking a question, trying to see where the boys are thinking on that one. But yeah, we can leave that game where it was. I mean, disgusting. Saints are dead in the water. Bills took on the Seahawks and got a job done. What? That was on the road, I'm pretty sure. Went to the 12th man and silenced the crowd. I mean, 31-10. How legit are the Bills, and are they going to challenge the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl? I think you have to put them ahead of the Ravens at this point after what we saw on Sunday.
I know the Chiefs are really good, and that defense is really, really good. And of course, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, you never want to face him. But I'm starting to think the Bills might be the best team in the AFC.
I
I
mean,
won't fault you for saying that. I'm definitely not there yet, but this was, in my opinion, their best day offensively of the season outside of the Jags game. I mean, the Jags aren't a real legitimate defense, so that doesn't really count. But the Seahawks, they've made plays, they've looked good at times, and dude, this was an awesome game by Josh Allen and the complimentary receivers. I know they just traded for Cooper; he didn't have a great day, but Keon Coleman looked like an absolute freaking stud out there. And then Khalil Shakir had a great day as well. But shout out Keon Coleman, man. He's him. He's him.
Yeah, the Amari Cooper trade definitely benefited Keon Coleman the most out of anybody here. He looks really good, and of
he looks
course,
unreal.
I dropped him in fantasy after like 2 weeks, so that's fun.
Yeah,
Let's
interrupt.
draft a rookie receiver and drop him after he doesn't do anything for the first 2 weeks of his career.
It was more of the state of my team was so bad. I needed somebody to produce right away. Didn't have room.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do I interrupt the programming for a Freddie Freeman 2-run home run?
Boom.
Okay, well, Yankee fans, everything I said about 1956 may not be. Dude, the
That's why I
Dodgers
had to
are really
bring it
good.
up.
The
That's why I
Dodgers
had
Look,
to bring it
are
up
really
because
good.
Brian tried to pump fuel into the New York fan base and try and pull some nonsense stat that means jack shit. And Freddie Freeman 2-run blast in the first inning.
look, there's plenty of ball game left.
Plenty of
There's a lot
ball
of
game left.
time. Play a ball game left for sure. But to what you snuck in there, Brian, the Dodgers lineup and just team is
I don't know
unbelievable.
how the Mets beat them twice. It's a credit to the Mets of the 2024 Mets because that team is just insane.
Let's save
Yeah.
it for the World Series talk.
Cool. I had to interrupt it because that was, I mean, he just went yard again. And Freddie Freeman, I mean, he's probably going to be the World Series MVP if the Dodgers win it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You don't hit a walk-off grand slam and not earn MVP, right?
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as Otani has a game with a home run and a stolen base, MLB might cream themselves and hand it to him.
Oh, shut up.
Maybe.
You're so salty. You're so salty Lindor didn't win MVP.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Also, I know we'll save the World Series talk for the end, but just quickly, I brought up stolen bases. There's no more steal a base, steal a taco promotion. You
Really?
didn't get that this year.
Why?
Terrible.
I
You're
don't
Are they
know.
right.
losing a lot of money on tacos?
You're right.
Maybe there's a shortage on, can I call it beef that Taco Bell uses? But it's ridiculous. Why isn't there a steal a base, steal a taco promotion?
Margins.
Yeah, losing a lot of money. Losing a lot of money on the stolen taco. But let's keep rolling here. We got a couple games to jump through to end this slate here. And it's your guys' boy, Bo Nix. Broncos beating the Panthers, who, sure, got it done. Broncos look okay. But, Jack, I know you mentioned the Eagles having a cupcake schedule, but the Broncos schedule has been extremely, extremely cupcake-esque. They got the job done, win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, their schedule has been super easy, and even like the three teams they lost to have lost to bad teams and have been beatable. They could, dude. Actually, I'm looking at this now. The three losses they have too are all by one score, so they've been in all of these games. That's very, very surprising to see. But luckily for my own sanity and for the takes that I had earlier on in the season, they have the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Falcons coming up. So they're about to go on a 3-game skid.
Yeah, I know you hate Sean Payton almost as much as you hate Bo Nix after he left Auburn, but this may have been a great move by him. And obviously, it's not that difficult of a move to start the rookie. But I know Jarrett Stidham, also our guy, War Eagle,
Or
was a little upset when he didn't get the starting nod because he thought he was in a better place than Bo Nix at the time in training camp. But with such the easy schedule, this has given Bo Nix time to adjust to the NFL. And we saw it this week, 284 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, he might be a good quarterback. And he got the games against almost 2 months against these cupcake teams to figure it out.
By the way,
yeah,
Jack, you said 3-game skid. I think the Broncos beat the Falcons.
of course you do. Of course you do. I mean, again, we're just chucking our biases in here left and right. I respect it. But Brian, do we really think? Are we really going to say that this was the game that makes us think Bo Nix is a good NFL quarterback against the Panthers?
No,
Well,
I won't even go there.
I think two things can be true. He played a terrible team, but he also took advantage of playing that terrible team. He could have handed the ball off 35 times, and they could have won 17-10. But he played a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and that's what. I mean, I like to give Sean Payton like some flack, but he does some things right, and that's what you want to do. You have a weaker opponent, let your rookie quarterback. Ooh, that boy Darius Slayton, War Eagle, just caught like a 60-yard pass.
Touchdown?
No, tackled at the 10.
All right. War Eagle, Darius. Let's get a Tyron Tracy touchdown here.
Damn, that was a bomb. But nah, dude, I'm not in on Bo Nix yet. I'm really not. Maybe I should be. But this Denver defense is what's doing it for them, setting up good field position, holding teams to low scores. I mean, they've given the most points they've given up since week one was 23. You know, you're holding teams to 23 points or less, you're going to win a lot of those games.
Yeah, they're really good. And Pat Surtain, I know cornerbacks don't win Defensive Player of the Year, but he's been good enough to win that award.
What is I think I asked it a couple weeks ago about the Vikings, but I mean, tough schedule coming up. What's the ceiling of this team? Veteran head coach, somewhat, I guess, proven head coach in Sean Payton, rookie quarterback, looking like good chance of making the playoffs again. The tough schedule's coming up, but I mean, can the Broncos win a playoff game?
I think they're good enough to lose a road playoff game close.
Yeah, right. Because they're not winning the division, so they will have to go on the road for a playoff game. And I don't know, dude. I feel like Bronco playoff games are always wild. I always think back to that Tim Tebow game, so I won't put it out of. And you want to compare someone to, Bo Nix, to Tim Tebow's pretty right there for me. Not obviously not as big as strong as a runner, but still runs it and runs hard. So I think that's a pretty good comparison. I could see them stealing one playoff game, but that's as far as I say they go. That's their stealing. One playoff.
Who would they have to play in the first round?
It'd be whoever came in
Ravens?
second. Whoever came in second in the North or the Chargers, probably.
Yeah.
They could beat the Chargers.
Well, they just lost to the Chargers, but you're absolutely right. In a playoff game, they could. Because, again, they just lost them by one score. 6 points
Right.
is not much.
You know how tough it is to do twice in a year. It wouldn't be 3 times, but twice in a year could be tough. So, yeah, I mean.
It would be the third time because they get them again in the regular season.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe we see that on the cards. I could see them beating the Chargers in a playoff game. I don't know that I can get there if they had to play like the Steelers or the
Steelers,
Ravens on the road.
Yeah.
But we jump into the
Jaguars.
yeah,
And keep dreaming.
I will.
that's I think not even wishful thinking. That's just called delusion. Um, but Chiefs Raiders 27-20, kind of a yawn fest. The Chiefs obviously were going to win this game. We knew it was going to happen. Not convincingly, but I don't know. The Raiders score at the end to make it seem closer than it really was, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how these end up going. But Chiefs are still the Chiefs. They're going to get all the calls and get help from the NFL along the way, and that's why they're my undoubtedly number one team in the NFL.
Yeah, Bucker got his 2 field goals. I don't know if Crosby got his sack. Didn't look that up, but I gave out both of those on the live show. The Chiefs just traded for Josh Uche from the Patriots to kind of make that defense even better. They're going to win this division. They're probably going to go back to the AFC Championship. It's the same story every week.
Same story every year at this point. I mean, the Chiefs are probably going to the Super Bowl. Like, we just have to accept it at this point. I mean, who's beating them in the AFC, Brian? I know you want to talk about the Bills. Bengals are dead in the water. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson's not beating Mahomes in the playoffs. Like, the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think.
How long before we start having the conversation that they don't lose a single game this season?
I mean, I think it's already a conversation.
That
I
is
mean,
enough.
the way that they're playing football, it's not, we're gonna blow it's not what it used to be. It's not we're gonna blow you out by 30 points. It's we're gonna play really good defense, have very long, time of possession sort of drives, Mahomes converting third downs like he snaps his fingers and it happens. Andy Reid draws up a beautiful play. You got a guy wide open. It's hard to stop this team, and the only gripe I have against them is like some of their games come down to the wire and they get bailed out on these calls, but they still just look dominant throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it looks like they have 3 losable games left, maybe 2. They have the Bills in Buffalo on November 17th. So that'll be their biggest test. But then if they get by that, they get Panthers, Raiders, Chargers at home, then the Browns. Then they have the Texans at home. So that's probably number 2 losable game. And then they have the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. So you can never put it past Tomlin to, especially if they're undefeated, maybe get his team up for that game. But besides that, like this team isn't going to lose more than 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, no, I think for them to go undefeated, I don't know if I can get there. I think one of those, they maybe drop one of those games. And I think if you're the Chiefs and you're the Chiefs fans, you don't want to be undefeated going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I honestly think you might want to lose that game in Orchard Park to Josh Allen so they think they have your number. And then you go beat them at
Yeah.
Arrowhead.
That might be
Yeah,
it.
Brian, I think you nailed it. The Bills and the Steelers, those would be the only 2 games I'm really worried about for them.
I think the Texans could, if they get Nico and maybe Diggs back, they can make something happen.
Maybe if it was in Texas.
Yeah, I think I still got the Chiefs in that game. I mean, we just saw the Texans lose to the Packers. And the Packers are a good team, but I got the Chiefs as a better team than the Packers.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we'll jump on to, I'm not going to call it the game of the weekend, but certainly the play of the weekend. Commanders beat the Bears 18-15 in a Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels. A ridiculous Hail Mary. Should have never happened from his own like 40-yard line, 30-yard line. I mean, look, what was it? The Bears defensive back was celebrating, taunting the crowd,
Yep.
and it blew up in his face. Like, dude, like, what are you doing? You know that's gonna happen. Like, the play was going on, and he was like turned around, yelling at the crowd.
Yeah, like 5 seconds in, it's Tariq Stevenson, who I think his man assignment on that play was Noah Brown.
Who
And
caught the ball?
So not only was he taunting fans, but then instead of guarding Noah Brown, he went to try to intercept the pass or bat it down, and it went right to Noah Brown.
I mean, ridiculous play, dude. I mean, certainly, probably definitely the craziest play we've seen all year. I can't think of another crazy one, especially a walk-off game winner like that. But look, you need some magic to go your way in the NFL, and we saw it on Sunday. I'm not going to sit here and say the Commanders are a team of destiny, but they definitely got all the mojo going right now for them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the between the two quarterbacks, the rookie of the year race, I was saying that this game is going to hold a lot of weight, and the market definitely adjusted as such. Going into the game, Jaden Daniels was the favorite, minus 134. Caleb, number two, plus 108. I mean, that's basically a pick 'em at that point. After the game, Jaden Daniels, minus 450. Caleb Williams, plus 1,000. I mean, it's
Wow.
not even close anymore. And that happened on one play.
Yeah, it's the way it happened. This is when you say, and now the 2024 NFL Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, and in the backdrop when he's accepting the award, you show that Hail Mary play.
Yeah, 100%. And then you immediately go to Caleb Williams spiking his helmet down because his defense blew that for him.
Yep.
They
Also,
did.
the coaching, like they have a third and goal, second and goal, and they give it to a backup center who fumbles the football. Like that, this could have never happened if the Bears punched that touchdown in, and they give it to a backup third-year center who hadn't started a game at the offensive line in his career, let alone take a handoff in the NFL, and it's a turnover. Like it's just terrible.
How
I'm
much?
also,
You got it, Jack.
I was just saying, I'm also just sitting here like, when are we going to be done with, all right, let's just send one or two or three guys at the quarterback on these Hail Marys. Like, send a normal four. Like, you can still have plenty of guys back there playing deep, making tackles. You don't need the extra guy back there. You don't, I promise you. You can send four, not let the quarterback run around for 10 minutes, not let the receivers literally stand in the end zone and then he gets the wide open throw. Just send some guys at him, on like a normal play.
Yeah.
I agree. Dude, I might sound crazy, but send the all-out blitz, dude. You're gonna get to the quarterback before the players run 65 yards down the field. Maybe not an all-out blitz, but you know what I mean. Like they're gonna get to the quarterback before he's able to, have the players get to the end zone and obviously lob a heave up there. I mean, they should.
It wouldn't kill you to just, and I'm surprised more teams don't do this, just run a cover one and have one blanket safety, have everyone else. You don't have to press, just have
No,
them man up like 20 yards down the
you don't
field
have
and
to
then send
press.
everyone else.
And then exactly, you run four guys. I mean, depending on what the formation is, I'm assuming I'm assuming the offense has a running back there to help with blocking. You got four guys playing man, one safety high. That's five. Send the other six.
Yeah.
That's six
Right,
guys.
yeah.
You don't. If he wants to throw it to the running back that sneaks out, let him. You got five guys back there ready to come up and make a tackle, and this dude's got to run 50, 60 yards. Come on.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and just like, dude, it's the NFL. We see it all the time. These guys got to go run 60 yards to get to the end zone. You would think five guys, six guys would be able to get to the quarterback by the time. I mean, we see it
Easily.
all the time. Like, I don't know. I guess because if they do it and it blows up in their face, like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what the hell are they thinking? But like,
No one can be the first one to do it.
yeah, nobody can be the first one to do it kind of thing. But, we see cases like this where, obviously it's rare for it to happen, but it happens. And I think we just
and
lost Jack.
yeah, I guess the Hail Mary PTSD talk. We thought about the Auburn game last year, and it was too much for him.
Yeah, it might have been. Well, we can wrap it up with Niners, Cowboys. Again, this was a game I kind of turned off as I guess like at halftime. I thought this game was over, but I guess CD Lamb
Yeah,
exploded in the second half and made it close.
yeah, it was always over. I mean, the Cowboys in the fourth quarter, they scored a quick touchdown, made it kind of close, got a 3-and-out, and then went down and scored again. But like Mike
Did
McCarthy, we
they
talked.
have did they have the ball with a chance to score and tie with time on the clock?
They did, and they got a first down, and then they had to punt. But it would no, they turned it over on downs. It was desperation time. But yeah, it was never. And Mike McCarthy used all of his timeouts. They could have gotten it back, but they didn't because he used all of his timeouts. This was never really in danger for the Niners.
It was never going to be a problem.
No, there was
It
a
didn't seem
little
like
bit.
that in the first half. I mean, it seemed like the Niners kind of had a good grasp on anything the Cowboys were trying to throw at them. I mean, CeeDee Lamb was catching his dink and dunk passes, but it seemed like they had pretty good contain. And then obviously CeeDee Lamb just explodes in the second half. Maybe some loose coverage from the Niners because they were up big kind of helped play into that, but that's just what it was.
Yeah, it was the same kind of thing that happened against the Ravens when the Cowboys played the Ravens and they made it kind of close at the end. Yeah, the Cowboys stink, and the Niners apparently Christian McCaffrey is going to be practicing next week, so they'll get him back, and we have Jack back.
I'm back. Sorry about
Everybody's
that.
back.
Jack, any thoughts before we wrap it up here on either the Cowboys or the Niners?
Um, let's see. Yes. George Kittle is a beast. It doesn't matter if it's National Tight End Day or not. He's just awesome. He's been having a hell of a season, and he's been staying relatively healthy, which is just great to see out of him, something we haven't seen in a while. And then the other thing on the other side, Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott sitting on that bench together was hysterical. Absolutely. I'm like, is it 2016 that we're watching right now? I feel like this would have been like a really cool picture a decade ago. Now it's hilarious. It's funny. Like these guys are just, what is Jerry doing?
Rico Dowdle got so nervous looking at his two idols that he grew up watching that he started yakking before the game and he wasn't able to play.
Dude, I had to rub my eyes when I saw Dalvin Cook. I was like, what? Where, what? I had to rub my I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought this guy was like, coaching high school football or something like that. Like, I did not know he was still on the NFL roster, let
He
alone
didn't,
playing in a game.
he didn't look that terrible either. I mean, he looked about as good as Zeke looks, but it wasn't
Is that tough to
terrible.
do?
High bar you're setting there, Bry.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, like Jack said, 10 years ago, great picture, cool story. Now, this is like worse than a farewell tour.
Yeah, it's like the narrators in the beginning of movies where it's like, you won't believe how we got here.
It's like
Yeah,
trotting out Joe Biden to go be the president.
yeah, it definitely is.
I think that's where we wrap it up.
That's where we wrap it
That's
up.
what I'm
But
saying, dude. You just wrap it up. Call it quits.
You're still misconstruing. Oh man, Tyrone Tracy just got a long run called back too. That hurts.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a good looking run too.
well, it's been a long show. Obviously, a bunch of stuff to get into on the NFL. Be wrapping up with a little World Series. I mean, it's 2-0. As we're recording right now, the Dodgers are up 2-0 in the series and are up 2-0 in game three. Um, People were saying, the series is over. Then people were saying, well, a home team needs to lose a game first, and that's when the series is over. So, I kind of thought the series was already over. And I guess, if the Dodgers win tonight, that's just a nail in the coffin for everybody to agree with.
Ye- Yeah, I'll tell you the same thing I said about the ALCS, where it'll be the no, because it'll be a little different, but the Dodgers will win game three, and then the Yankees will hold it off, win game four. And then the Brooklyn Dodgers fans will get to celebrate in their own backyard and come out of the woodworks and celebrate their Los Angeles Dodgers winning in 5 games.
I was going to say, is there any way that this game goes back to or this series goes back to LA?
I mean, I'm out on the Yankees, man. They don't look good at all. I mean, I don't want to say that they're uninspired. I mean, this is the damn World Series. They're all up for it. But Judge he looks clueless at the plate. And then I understand people love John Carlos Stanton, but he is the ugliest swing in baseball. I hate it. I hate watching him. I absolutely fucking hate it.
Yeah,
He's just so violent.
people kind of laughed when Luis Severino said midseason that he texted his former Yankee friends and said, "You guys only have two good hitters. You're not good." Now they only have one good hitter with Juan Soto because Aaron Judge can't hit.
Aaron Judge doesn't play in the playoffs. I think like he just does not. This isn't like just this year only. I mean, the guy, his whole career has not been good in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe it's the cold weather.
we're all gonna look really dumb when the Yankees come back and win Game 3.
Yeah, right. I mean, dude, look, they could win Game 3. I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibilities, but I don't think that they're winning this series. I mean, you look top down at this Dodgers lineup, and you just say, how do you not get it done? I mean, it's as simple as looking at the other side and being like, who are the two young guys like Verdugo and Volpe, and they're both good ball players, but when you when you're looking at the Dodgers lineup and they don't have a single guy who's not just like this absolute MVP caliber vet, little things like that, throughout a series, 7 game series add up.
Yep. Yeah, I saw Jazz Chisholm apparently wrote his own song and he's using it as his walk-up song. So I guess they're trying to capture the "oh my God" magic, but it's a little too late for that.
A little too late.
I think he's been playing pretty well. I mean, I gotta actually. Last 3 games. Yeah, last 3 games, 4-12. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, he's been fine, but
He's been fine. It's the big hitters for them. It's Aaron Judge. He's got to be the guy that gets it going. And what has Gleyber Torres done? I mean, people always love to hype him up and talk about him being, awesome. Like, has he done anything?
He was good in the playoffs, but not this series. He had a decent game 1, I think. He might have been on base for that Stanton home run. But yeah, he hasn't done much. The Yankees they might be toast. The Dodgers are so good.
The Dodgers lineup is just, Brian, we talked about it on the the show we ran last week. Like they have Tommy Edman like at the bottom of their lineup. I mean, he's a guy who's like, good enough to be on most MLB teams towards the top of their order.
Won the NLCS MVP.
The fact you could just throw him in the bottom of your order, I mean, it's borderline unfair, but that, baseball is the one major sport where they just say, hey, if you want to rig your team and sign a bunch of guys, you can. You just got to pay the league, the organization, extra money.
Or defer all the money until your best player is 40 years old.
Or do that.
The show.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it does. And maybe we'll see more teams start to do that as the Dodgers kind of, it takes one domino to fall. The Dodgers did it. So now we'll see what happens this whole year. But I guess one last thing, and, this is maybe more of a question for the offseason, but where does Juan Soto sign? Brian, are you sold on it, the Mets?
If he truly wants to take the most money, he's going to be a New York Met.
What is the contract?
12 years, $630 million.
Damn. You think Steve Cohen will do that?
In a heartbeat, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it. Cohen's already shown to not really care about what he spends. And the fact that, they kind of got a taste this year of, making a run and getting close. I think that kind of moves the needle and pushes him over the edge to go back to, reckless spending Steve Cohen that we saw year 1 of him as an owner.
Yeah, they built the foundation now, and they're still building it. But when a player like Juan Soto's there, that's why Steve Cohen bought the Mets.
Yeah, and they'll make the money back tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of all I got for the World Series, the NFL. Make sure you stay tuned. We have Wednesday night. We'll record for the Thursday show. We have the new confidence picks of the week. That's going to be really fun. I think it'll be a lot better content for you guys as we go over the NFL slate. It is the sports equinox, so happy sports equinox to all who celebrated with crazy, multiple legs of different sports parlays. But other than that, that's all I got. I'm hyped up for the midweek show when we go over the NFL slate. And should be some fun Jaguars-Eagles preview talk in there as well.
Give me a touchdown, Tyrone.
Let's go Jags, baby.